Well, hello everybody.
Hello, hello.
How goes it?
Drinking coffee, soaking up some sunshine.
All right. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, I think it went up live on Facebook, but I am not sure. Actually, might have just closed it. Oops.
You closed it?
Maybe.
No, I have it running on the other computer. It looks like it's on still.
Okay, good.
So I'll share it on there.
Well, perfect. So, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks, Carlin. Thanks, Chelsea, Christine, Danielle, Jordan. What is that? Is that Kathleen? Or no, Kathy, Olivia, Rachel, Rob's here. Awesome. And Tasha, thank you so much for everyone who's joining us. Today is going to be super, super impactful. Today is the build up. Everything we've been doing has been building up towards today. Today it's stage 7, the big release. This is the stage that everyone comes to Organic Living Chiropractic hoping that we will be able to magically zap them into from day one. Unfortunately, jumping just into stage 7 without fully embodying the previous stages can get us some relief, but it's not necessarily going to be sustainable. There's nothing wrong with doing the exercise for stage 7, even if you missed the stages previously to this. But just recognize in order to really embody stage 7, we have to have the strong foundation that we built in the stages leading up to this one. So this one's going to be an impactful one. This is going to be a super energized one. This is going to be a very, very powerful one. And before we get into the exercises itself, so previously in the stages, we've really been kind of developing along these lines. In the first 2 stages, really we were talking about, the problem or the scenario that caused the problem. In stage 3, we recognized the very, very beginning, oh, there's a me involved in this process. So the beginning part of this process, we are a nobody. We don't even have enough bandwidth to factor ourselves into the scenarios or the situations that are going on. The suffering is just so overwhelming. The problem is just so looming that there's not enough bandwidth to really focus on the personal part of this. In stage 3, we really start to claim this. We begin to build up and recognize that there is a me involved in this. And so from stage 4 until stage 6, we're moving, instead of being a nobody that's just being victimized, we're now moving into a somebody who claims their power, a somebody who is going to plow through, a somebody who is reconnecting with all of those dissonant aspects of ourselves in stage 5, a somebody who is ready, so ready, so ready for the resolution. Okay, stage 7 is the culmination of really being that someone. And there's 12 stages. So guess what? What happens after you resolve being a someone? What happens after you resolve being an identity, a role? After that, you're just a connection. You're just an interconnected relationship with all that is. But in order to fully embody that relationship from stage 8 until 12, to fully embody that complete unity and openness and oneness and interconnection, there has to be the fullness of a somebody in order to be in the fullness of that relationship. One thing is not a relationship. A relationship takes 2 things. So the relationship is between the thing that we identify as a self and all that is a not self. And reality is one interconnected whole. It's made up of interconnected relationships. So yes, beyond this, we move beyond duality, because it's not a this or a that, it's a this and a that. It is an interconnected whole, and it's a whole bunch of parts in a relationship simultaneously. But in order to really move into that, we fully have to resolve this identity that we have created. Okay. Now, there's a very, very interesting thing about these identities that we create for ourselves, or that we allow to be created. We're told we need to be a good boy, or we need to be a nice girl, or we need to be a successful business person, or we need to be a loving mother, or we need to be fill in the blank with all of the different roles that an individual could take on. But in order to take on a role, there has to be an individual. But whenever we take on that role, when we put on that mask, if we confuse the mask for the real being that's behind the mask, a very interesting thing happens. A part of our brain, deep, deep inside of our brain, the connection between our paleo, our instinctual brain, and our limbic brain, our relational, our emotional brain, this part of the brain will literally send the body into defensive and attack mode when our identity is challenged. Okay. So if you go buy a new car, right, and you were just so involved in that car, and you were just so proud of it, and look what I accomplished, and look what I did, and look what I have, and I'm the person that drives this car, and I come up with a key and I try to scratch that car, you will physically have a reaction to this car that's not directly connected to you. What's up with that? And it's because the brain has now enveloped that car into your identity. And just like if your physical body was going to be attacked, the brain, not knowing the difference between what happens outside the body and what happens inside the body, all the brain knows is what the cells say. So if the cells are saying that's a part of me and it's being attacked, the brain goes, send out the defenses. So how many identities do we have in life that end up causing us a large amount of suffering? Okay. How many things have we convinced ourselves or been convinced of that we are, rather than that being that can pick up those things and put them down, whether it's throughout our life, whether it's our lifetime to begin with. This body, this is not me. So all the attributes to this body, I am not a blue-eyed person. Yes, this body has blue eyes, but that's not who I am. That's not the being. That's just the mask that the being is looking out of. So think about this. Think about people who struggle with addictions. If we classify ourselves, if we identify as an alcoholic, well, and our body would start to defend that identity. What happens if somebody would come along and say, you've been sober for what, 15 years? You're not an alcoholic anymore. You haven't had any alcohol. But our mind, our body will start to fight this. And this is where we get this concept of, these diseases that last our entire lifetimes, when in reality, not a single cell in our body lasts a lifetime. So none of the diseases, none of the symptoms that we produce can last more than 7 years, unless we are continually programming ourselves with that specific identity. So if you try to take away the identity of being an alcoholic from someone who has struggled with alcohol in the past, more than likely, they're going to start to argue with that. They're going to start to defend that part of themselves, that identification. Okay. What about the identity of being a widow? What about the identity of being sick? I'm a person with diabetes. I'm a person who has a weight problem. I'm a person who has blah, 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 like whatever else that we want to fill that blank in. Okay. How long does it take for us subconsciously to start defending those things that we convince ourselves that we are? Even and especially if those things are detrimental to us, if those things are not the fullness of who we are. Okay. I'm an abused person. I grew up in a family like this. Therefore, I am whatever, fill in the blank. Okay. These identities that we create will be defended. We will scratch and we will claw and we will convince ourselves and we'll try to convince everybody else around us that it's valid that we hold on to these identities. But no identity can embody the fullness of what and who you truly are. So feel free to pick up and put down these masks and these roles, but be very, very aware of when we have identified with being some particular thing, some attribute, some way, whatever else, rather than being a being that has the freedom to take on these attributes when we want to and put down the attributes when we don't. You have the freedom to be one thing in one situation and something totally different in another situation. And guess what? It doesn't affect who and what you truly are. So, stage 7, resolution. Okay. The feeling of resolution is the feeling that we get after a massive, massive bout of diarrhea or vomiting, whenever we've had this full and complete release of everything that doesn't serve us anymore. And at the end, we're just, oh, finally, I'm just here, no longer struggling to try to keep in and contain this thing that is really, in the end, causing me a bunch of pain and causing me a bunch of suffering. So stage 7 is about building up that energy, building it up, building it up, building it up, building it up until finally there's just nowhere for that energy to go. And then it just releases, it dissipates. And by releasing that bound energy, we have more energy to make the changes in life that we need to make the changes in life that either are going to pick up another role that we've been needing and wanting to pick up, that is going to add to the fullness of the expression of who we are, or to be able to take off one of those identities, to be able to take off one of those roles that we've been carrying around that has been restricting or constricting our real, true identity and beingness. So stage 7 is an incredibly, incredibly powerful stage. It requires you to bring everything that you have. Okay. How badly do you want to be the fullness of who you are? How bad do you want to have the freedom to express your true nature uninhibited? How badly do you want to have the impact that you know you can have in the world? In order to have that impact, we need the roles. We need those different masks. Okay. We need the flexibility of being able to change our identity moment to moment. Okay. If you did not need those roles, well, you would just be a soul. You would just be a disembodied spirit, one of the angels floating around up there, and one of the ghosts. But if you're going to have an impact in this world, you need the role. You need the identity, but you don't need to identify with the role or the identity. It can just be a tool that you have. Okay. So in reality, us as a being is a no one and a someone. But in order to really experience being a no one and being able to experience the responsibility of being a someone simultaneously, okay, we have to have enough energy, have enough resolution, have enough peace, have enough confidence within ourselves to be able to flip back and forth and see both simultaneously. All right. The only way this is bearable, being a no one and a someone, is when we are connected to everyone and everything. And that's what stage 8 through stage 12 are really about, is about experiencing that interconnectedness. But like I said before, in order to do that, you have to master being a someone. You have to master the roles. And once you master a role, whether it's husband, whether it's wife, father, mother, professional, mother, daughter, whatever else that you want to fill in the blank is. Once you master that role, at the end of that, what you realize is that's not where your true satisfaction comes from. Only by experiencing mastery of that identity or that role could you possibly imagine that achieving it is not going to give you what you think it's going to give you. Now, that viewpoint of the achievement, if I can be, if I can make this much money, or if I can have this house, or if I can raise my family in this way, we need to see that on a pedestal in order to have the hunger to really move through that and master that role. But there is no role, there's no set of roles that could ever encompass who you truly are. Therefore, there is no role that will truly satisfy you. But the experience of that is necessary to fully be able to get beyond that and into those upper stages. So stage 7 is the recognition of that mastering of the role, whatever it is, and the recognition that the hunger is still there. It wasn't satiated. And that conflict, that fight back and forth between what I achieved and yet it's not enough. I achieved and yet it's not enough. I achieved and yet it's not enough. That builds up and builds up and builds up and builds up and eventually is able to be liberated into stage 8, which is just the pure being, just the emptiness. But first, we got to build it up. So today, what we're going to do is we are going to build up that energy so that we can release what was bound up as our identity, which you should be. It also can be what you shouldn't be. A lot of times we will develop this identity around a negative also. Okay, I don't do this type of thing. I don't act in this type of way. I don't have these particular feelings. I don't have these desires. I don't have these instincts. That's not something that I personally do. And it may not be something that you personally do, but it's something that you could do. It's something that there's probably a part of you that actually does do. So when we're digging into this, when we're recognizing these different identities, recognize that we can have a negative identity also. Rather than this is who I am, we could be spending a lot of time and saying, this is who I'm not. This is what the widow, the alcoholic, the abuse survivor, this is the identity that they carry around. Okay, it's a not me. I don't do that. I don't feel that. This doesn't happen anymore, but I'm still carrying this around. So be aware of the negative identities that we can create. And I'm not saying negative as a bad thing, although that can definitely, that judgment can easily jump in there. But negative as far as it's the not, it's the opposite, it's the anti. Okay. So in stage 7, I'm just going to kind of explain this real quick as we go through, and then we'll move through the different stages. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to need to lay down for this one. Okay, because we're going to be stretching our hands above our heads, okay, for the first part of this. And we are going to stretch and we're going to compress, and we're going to stretch and we're going to compress, and we're going to build up that energy, build up that charge throughout this. And so we're going to need our full body and mind's involvement, okay? So when we're laying down, our hands, our fingers are going to be pointed away with the inhale, and we're going to be reaching up all the way in, and our toes are going to be pointed down. So our fingers and our toes are going to be pointed away from each other during the inhale. We're going to breathe in the nose, and then as we exhale, we're going to compress everything in. We're going to squeeze our hands. We're going to flex our toes up towards our head or towards our nose, and we're going to pull everything in that we possibly can as we exhale. Everything that we're going to be focused on is going to be centered around whichever one of these areas was the most challenging, was the most charged, had the most energy, that's been bound up, that's been most guarded and wounded. If you're not exactly sure which one that is, one of the natural go-tos is just going to be this solar plexus area. This is probably one of the most popular ones for people to bind up stuff. I know this one's very, very true for me. So if you get into this and you kind of start to forget which one of these was the area of charge, don't worry about it. If you just go to the solar plexus, you're going to make a lot of progress with this. But if you do remember which one, we want to go ahead and force all of the breath during the inhale. And we're going to hold it into that spot for about 2 to 5 seconds. And then we're going to compress everything in as we exhale and pull everything into that area, compressing down, breathing all of the air out that we possibly can into that one area. Inhale, filling it up, holding it for about 2 to 5 seconds, all the way completely out, squeezing the entire body, clenching the fist, pulling the legs up, pushing everything into that spot. Once we've got that rhythm going of the body expanding and contracting and expanding and contracting and breathing in and compressing and breathing in and compressing into those areas, when we've got the body going into that, and this is probably going to be maybe about 3 to 5 minutes of doing this, and I'm going to guide you through this. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our hands and we're going to hold our breath, and we're going to bring the hands directly over whatever spot that we decide, that we felt all of the charge, all the wounding, all the defensiveness are. And when our hands get all the way over the spot, we're going to clench our fists. We're going to drive the energy deeper into that spot, and we are going to make the most instinctual, the most guttural, the most free, authentic sound that we possibly can, all the way from our soul. This is a tone that can fluctuate, it can shift, it can change. We want to follow where it goes. Big deep breath in, making the sound again, bringing the fist all the way down, making the sound, making the sound, making the sound, holding the arms right next to the body, keeping the body nice and strong, making the sound, making the sound, making the sound, making the sound, until there's nothing left, until there is no more sound to be made or found anywhere, until the body and the mind just totally collapse as we've given it all we've gotten. All right. So before we get started in this, if you have a comment or you have a question, let's go ahead and ask it now, because this is probably going to be one of those stages in which, when we get into this, towards the end of this, after the full release, most people are not really going to want to do a lot of talking. So there's a button on the chat bar that's a raise your hand button, or you can kind of type it in. If you don't have any questions or comments, or you don't want to raise your hand, just go ahead and find a place around you that you can fully lay down, that your arms and legs can be fully extended above and below you. There's going to be no interference, okay, anywhere within your reach, okay, because like I said, this is an intense one, so we don't want anybody, gashing themselves on the coffee table or anything else like that. So I'm not seeing any hands raised. So everybody, as you are finding this place, as you are laying out, just let your mind go over all of the different roles that you have in your life that are a challenge, that are anything more than completely energizing and fulfilling you. Recognize there might be some guilt around that. If a role that you've been struggling with is the role of mother, wrestle with that. Be honest that this role that you have, this role of husband, this role of wife, this role of employee, this role of whatever it is, the role of friend, be brutally honest with yourself about what you actually experience when you are embodying this role, it's not about right or wrong. It's not that once you make this resolution that you're all of a sudden going to abandon your children. But just be really brutally honest with yourself. And how many roles do you carry around that are heavy and anything other than energizing and freeing and fun and joyful? And maybe all roles can't be that all the time, but I'd be willing to bet you can find probably about 2 to 3 different roles that are that way more often. That they are heavy and hard way more often than they're energizing and fun. And those are the roles that I just want you to just bring your subconscious awareness to through your conscious awareness. So everybody lay back, just relax, just breathe, just feel your body, feel the space around your body. Feel the air in the room. And we're going to start where we have been starting, palm over palm on the very, very upper portion of the chest, breathing in the nose, out the mouth, right up underneath the hands, all the way in fully, all the way out fully. And find, feel, explore, be curious about where in this process is that place of peace, that place of ease, that place of connection, that place of freedom, of flowiness, where you just go along with the rhythm of this process rather than efforting to it. It's like you could totally let go and you're just watching it happen. Okay. For most of us, it's going to be somewhere in the exhale, but you also might find it in the relaxation, in the expansion or the inhale. Okay, so feeling for that place of peace or ease, that place of being able to fully let go, wherever that is. Okay, pay attention to what strategy is working for you today in order to feel that place or space of peace and ease. Okay, take a big deep breath in, fully inhale, feel the fullness of the inhale, exhale, feel the fullness of the exhale. Okay, is it in the breath? Expand this area fully, completely with the inhale, collapse this area, melt this area, allow this area to just fall in. Is it in the movement? Okay, when we're breathing in, we're going to feel the energy flowing down the front of our body from our head all the way to our pelvis, wrapping between our legs. And as we exhale, we're relaxing, releasing all of that energy up the spine and out the top of the head. Inhaling the energy down from the head, down the front of the body, through between the legs. Exhaling, allowing the spine to be fully released as that energy flows out the top of our head. Is that ability to be at home, to be connected, is it in the energy flow? Okay, whichever strategy works for you, whichever one that you can feel the best at being able to let go, whichever one you can feel the most at ease, the most connected with. Okay, that's the one I want you to focus on. So whether it's the movement, whether it's the breath, whether it's the energy flow. Now we're going to move to our solar plexus. Okay, right where the sternum, the hard bony part of the bottom, meets that soft, very, very upper belly, right at that junction, palm over palm, breathing in the nose, out the mouth, fully expanding, fully flowing with the inhale, fully relaxing with the exhale, finding that place of peace, ease, connection, creating that space, that wormhole, that portal into just being and letting go. What's the quality of that space or that place comparative to the one at the very top? Okay, you can go back and forth, one breath at each one. Identify the very top one or the solar plexus. Which one of those is the easiest and the most peaceful to connect to? Which one can you relax into the most? Which one can you exhale into the most? Which one does that flow of energy just take over the most for you to witness? Okay, which one's the most challenging? Which one's the opposite? Now move down to the belly button, palm over palm, all the way in, all the way out. Full flow of energy down the front, full release of the energy up the back of the spine and out the top of the head. Full expansion, full release and relaxation, whichever strategy is working for you. Now compare and contrast. Go back up to the other two spots between these three spots. One breath into each one, moving to the next one. Which one of these places does the flow of energy just effortless and palpable? Which one of these places has the most ease expanding fully and the most ease collapsing in, and you can just let go and trust it drop in? Which one of these places is the breath the most smooth, the most full, the most expansive? Which place can you exhale and just allow that air to fall out of your body the most effective? Okay, which area is the least connected? Which area is the one with the most trouble? Which area is the one with the most tension, the most insecurity, the most confusion, the most I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. I don't know what I'm supposed to be feeling here. Okay, which one's the most numb? Which one can you not feel? Okay, identify which one's your favorite, most connected, which one's the most challenging. Okay, we're going to call your favorite spot number one, and we're going to call the most challenging spot number two. Okay, go to spot number one, go to the most connected, feel the fullness of whatever strategy is working for you. Feel that place of peace, ease, connectedness, all the way in the nose, out the mouth. Now move to that spot number two, the least connected, all the way in, feeling for that place of peace, ease, connection, wherever it is, even if it's just a little speck. Now back to spot number one, back to the area of connectedness. 2, 3 to 4 full and complete cycles, experiencing that place or that space of peace, ease, connection, rest, relaxation, just beingness. And now back to spot number two, feel the difference, fullness of that cycle, experiencing, exploring, being curious about that place or that space of peace and ease here. Back to spot number one, all the way, complete cycle, 3 to 4. On the count of 3, we're all going to repeat together. Sometimes it seems I'm so helpless. 1, 2, 3, go. Now move to spot number two. Explore spot number two with the cycle all the way. Letting go, dropping in. What's that place or peace and ease right now? Moving back to spot number one. 3 to 4 full cycles, full expansion and contraction, full inhale, exhale, full flow of energy, whichever one's working for you. Complete it, connecting the whole time to where or when is that place or space of peace and ease. Repeating after me right whenever I finished. Sometimes it seems like nothing works. Go. Now move to spot number two. Explore spot number two. Curious about spot number two. Full cycle, experiencing spot number two, and back to spot number one. 3 to 4 full cycles into spot number one. And repeat after me. Sometimes it seems like nothing will change. Go. Now move to spot number two. Experience spot number two. The fullness of spot number two. The full letting go of spot number two. Now back to spot number one. All the way in and all the way out. Now take one hand, keep it on spot number one. Move The other hand onto spot number 2. Inhale, breathe, expand, flow fully into spot number 1, and let go, dropping into that place of peace or ease. Expand, flow, inhale fully into spot number 2, a drop into that place of peace and ease and connection, all the way in and out of spot number 1, all the way in and out of spot number 2, all the way in and out of spot number 1, all the way in and out of spot number 2, back and forth, experiencing the uniqueness of each one as you drop into that place of peace, ease, and connection into each one. It's supposed to be different, even if it's a subtle difference. If it's a massive difference, even better. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Breathing into spot number 1. Repeat after me. I have some parts I like. All the way in. Breathing into spot number 2. I have some parts I really don't like. Back to spot number 1. I have many different parts. Breathing into spot number 2. Some of these parts are great. Breathing into spot number 1. Some of these parts really piss me off. I have many different parts. I have many different rhythms. All of these parts make me whole. These are all my parts. Ha 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 ha. Let out a big belly laugh, even if you have to fake it. How crazy is it that we as a whole being reject some of the things that make us whole? Back and forth. Now breathe into both areas simultaneously, all the way in and all the way out. Feeling the connectedness between those two areas, dropping into the place of peace and ease and connection in both of those areas simultaneously, all the way in and all the way out, all the way in and all the way out. Repeat after me. These are all my parts. I don't have to like all my parts. All my parts don't have to like each other, but all of my parts are free to receive and to give, all the way in, all the way out. Now, both hands, palm over palm, right over spot number 2, over the most disconnected, over the most challenging area. Okay, this spot right now is where we're stuck. It's the woundedness, it's the binding, it's the place that our inner child is curled up underneath the blankets, huddled in, stuffed with all of the pain, all of the discomfort that comes along with being rejected, with being wounded, with being abandoned, with experiencing injustice, with experiencing betrayal, with experiencing humiliation, with experiencing all of the things that force that part of us, that innocent part of us, breathing in the nose, out the mouth, up underneath. Spot number 2. All of those things that have forced that inner child in us to either grow up too fast or have forced us to reject or abandon that inner child. This part of you is not bad. It's just throwing a temper tantrum because it's not fueled, because it doesn't have a free and open flow of resources and energy, all in or all out. It's bound up, it's guarded, it's protected, it's under a deep, deep scab, and that scab has formed over a wound that still needs to be cleaned out. Okay, so now intensify the discomfort in that area, intensify the disconnection, intensify the wounding, twist it to the right, twist it to the left, pull it up, pull it down, squish it, curl your body around it. What do you need to do to make that spot louder and louder and louder and make the sound of the stuckness? 1, 2, 3, go. Whoa! Make it all, make it all, make it all. Again, make the sound of the stuckness. All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. And then relax, lighten up, and just be with this area. Recognize this area as your wounded child that you are now ready to reconnect with. Okay, and you repeat after me. I am so stuck. Go. I'm the most stucked person in the whole world. Go. Nobody is as stuck as I am. Go. I am the master of stuckness. Go. I could teach others how to get stuck. Go. Breathing in the nose and out the nose. In the nose, out the nose. Take one hand and leave it on spot number 2, fully expanding and contracting, really getting in there, building up that energy like a charging bull. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. You've already connected to that part of you that needs the fuel, that needs the energy, that needs the love, that needs the protection. And now the adult you, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, is ready to plow through any obstacle that's standing between you and being the full version of you. You are ready to stop any situation or event that is going to continue to allow yourself to be a fractured, individualized version of yourself. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. Reach up, cover one nostril with your finger. In the nose, in that nostril, out the nostril. Switch in the other nostril, out the other nostril. Back and forth, building up a charge directly underneath the hand, directly into spot number 2. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, building it up, 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 building it up. And as the buildup gets there, as your body starts to tingle, as your body starts to shake, as it starts to get numb, on the count of 3, you're going to scream out, enough. 1, 2, 3, go. Enough of this. I will not put up with this anymore. This will not continue. This stops here. Now build it up again, back and forth between the 2 nostrils, right up underneath the hand, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. It doesn't need to be fast, but it needs to be intense, like you are a raging bull and you are ready to plow through anything that is preventing you from being able to share who you really are, share your gifts with the world. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. And on the count of 3, you repeat after me, I take my power back. 1, 2, 3, go. I take my power back. I take my authenticity back. Go. I take my freedom back. Go. I take my joy back. Go. I take my peace back. Go. I take my awareness back. Go. I take my ability to choose back. Go. Last time. Build it up. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Even though it's a challenge, moving into it more because you are so determined to make sure that that inner child gets everything that every child deserves so that they can be the full embodiment of loving, giving love and receiving love and exploring this amazing life. And on the count of 3, you repeat after me, I deserve more than this. 1, 2, 3, go. I am more than this. Go. I am ready to be so much more than this. Go. And as we do this for ourselves, we do it for everyone. So all together now, we deserve more than this. Go. We are more than this. Go. We are now ready to be so much more than this. Go. Now, switch over to breathing in the mouth and out the mouth. Put the palms of your hands facing away from you, arms out in front of you. Find a circular motion with the hands. The hands can be moving clockwise together. They can be moving counterclockwise together. Each hand might be finding its own circular motion. Allow the spine to stay straight, or allow the core of your body to stay straight. Keep the motion starting at the very, very tips of the shoulders and the arms. That motion moving down to the elbows, moving down to the hands. Now bend the knees, pull the feet a little bit off the floor, find a circular motion with the feet. Okay, that circular motion starts in the hips, and then the knees get involved, and the feet follow. So now the feet and the hands are now moving together. They're finding a rhythm. They're allowing the body to guide you into that rhythm. Now synchronize the hands, the feet with the breath. Hands, feet, and the breath. in the mouth, out the mouth, in the mouth, out the mouth, circling around, sinking. It can be a fast breath. It can be a slow breath. It needs to be a full breath, no matter what the speed is. And whatever the speed of the breath, that's the speed of the circular motion. And we're swirling around. We're recognizing it is all an interconnected whole. Everything that we thought was just these bits and pieces is all interconnected. All the different parts of ourselves, the parts we like, the parts we don't like, they're all interconnected. They're all make up our wholeness. They all contribute to our uniqueness, and our uniqueness contributes to the wholeness of humanity and the wholeness of existence and the wholeness of the universe. We are now swirling around, synchronizing, swimming in this vast sea of interconnectedness, feeling how the web of space is connecting molecule to molecule, atom to atom, inside of our body and outside of our body. And we are just breathing in that web and swimming through that web, all swirling together as one whole, all of our dark spots, all of our light spots swimming together. And on the count of 3, repeat after me. I accept all parts of myself. 1, 2, 3, go. I love all parts of myself. Go. I embrace all parts of myself. Go. I embrace all experiences of myself. Go. I love all parts of existence. Go. I embrace all parts of humanity. Go. I embrace all experiences of life. Go. In the mouth, out the mouth, in the mouth, out the mouth. Now go ahead and put the feet on the floor. Most likely your knees are going to want to stay bent. If they don't want to, it's not a big deal. Now take your hands, put your hands palm over palm, but this time the hands are going to be out in front of you, and the palms of the hands are going to be facing over that spot that was the challenge before. Spot number 2, starting away from the body, you're going to circle the hands around in a clockwise motion. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, building up that charge, circling around. The bigger the circle, the more the energy is going to be dissipated. So if spot number 2 was a huge challenge, make it a bigger circle. The tighter the circle, the smaller the circle, the more energy we're building up in order to get this full relief. So if you could be fully with spot number 2, I want you to make that circle as small as you can. I want you to breathe as intensely as you can. You're probably going to pick up the speed. You're going to breathe, and you're going to get the motion of that circle and the breath going together. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose, circling around, circling around, circling around, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the nose. Now slowly start to bring those hands closer and closer to the body. With every circle, you're spiraling into the body, in the nose, out the nose, in the nose, spiraling all the way down until finally you're touching spot number 2, and you're circling around. You're moving the skin around it. You're getting up, and now you're going to repeat after me. I'm ready. 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 Keep going. 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 Keep going until you start to feel that it's just building up and building up and building up. Now reach the hands fully straight above your head. Stretch the legs straight below you. During the inhale, you're going to inhale in the nose, out the mouth. During the inhale, you're going to stretch your fingers and toes as far away from them as you possibly can. You're going to channel all of that breath into spot number 2 with the full inhale all the way in. You're going to hold it there for about 2 to 5 seconds. And then as you exhale, you're going to squeeze your fist. You're going to flex your toes up towards your nose. You're going to compress the entire body, tightening the entire body, pushing the air out fully of spot number 2 until there's nothing left. And then you're going to inhale fully into spot number 2, stretching the fingers, stretching the toes into spot number 2, holding it for about 2 to 5 seconds until you feel that energy build up, and then compressing everything and squeezing the hands, tightening the fist, curling the toes, tightening the entire body into spot number 2, pushing all of the air out of spot number 2. Hold it. Breathe all the way into spot number 2. Flex, open up the hands, stretch the fingers, stretch the toes, all the way fully holding the charge, holding the breath. Collapse it in, expel it out, squeeze it out. The entire body gets involved in this, holding it at the very, very bottom. Inhaling, opening up, charging that area fully in, stretching the fingers, stretching the toes, compressing it all out with the exhale, squeezing the fist, flexing the toes up towards the nose, compressing everything into spot number 2 so that all of the air out of spot number 2 goes. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Breathing fully into spot number 2, all the way in. Take this at your own pace. Let your body take over this rhythm. Keep going with the inhale, stretching as far away from yourself, filling up spot number 2 as much as you can. With the exhale, squeezing everything as tight as you can, compressing all of the air out of spot number 2. Breathing in the nose into spot number 2, filling it up, stretching out as much as you can. Hold it at the very top. Hold it at the very top, hold it at the very top, hold it at the very top, compressing, exhaling, squeezing every muscle that you can possibly find to squeeze. We're building up for the release. We're getting that ebb and that flow of energy to go. Let your body continue to keep going all the way in, all the way out, all the way in. Keep going. Keep stretching, keep pulling, keep compressing, keep tightening all the way in. We're almost there. Keep going. How badly do you want this? How badly do you want this? Get it going so much so that the body literally starts to vibrate. The body literally starts to be so charged. It feels totally different than what you're normally used to. All the way in, all the way out, not giving any little tiny bit of effort that's going to be wasted. It's all going channeled to this. Now, breathe all the way in, fill up spot number 2, all the way, stretching, stretching, stretching. Keep the hands open, hold the breath at the very top. Bring the arms, keep them straight, but bring the arms in down and in front of you, directly over spot number 2 or over your solar plexus. Whenever you get over it, you're going to squeeze your fist. You're going to compress every ounce of energy and strength that you have into spot number 2, and you're going to make the sound of spot number 2 go. Make the sound and continue to pull the arm slowly down your side. Keep making the sound, letting the sound change, bringing the arms lower and lower, keeping the body tight, letting the sound totally be released. The hands and the arms are all the way down by your sides now. All the way down both sides. Keep the sound going. Keep the sound going. Let it flow. Notice how the sound is changing until there's no more sound, until the body is fully exhausted, until every ounce of that energy and that strength has been totally released. Let the body just be. Relax the arms. Relax the legs. Feel the space around the body. Big deep breath in and make the sound of relief. Ah, or oh, or ooh, whatever it is, all the way in, and let the sound of relief and resolution and finally noticing what's different, feeling the space around the body, feeling the space in the body, feeling the space in spot number 2, paying attention to the thought space, paying attention to the feeling and emotional space. Just allowing. And when you're ready, come back into the body. Come back into the room first. That might help. And then come back into the body. Wiggle the toes, wiggle the fingers, wiggle the nose, move the knees, move the hips, move the shoulders. When you're ready, go ahead and sit on up. Come back to the computer. Now, this is a very, very charged one. If anyone has any comments, please, please, please type them in. This helps not only me, this helps everyone who's here. This helps everyone who's going to be watching this later on. If you have a comment and you'd like to share that with your voice, please, please, please do so. You can unmute yourself, or you can just raise your hand with a little hand raising button, and we will go ahead and unmute you. So just let us know if you had an experience here. Let us know what Rob's still shaking. Awesome. That took a lot of energy to squeeze. And that's one thing I can always count on you, Rob, is to bring 125% of the energy that you have into anything. So yeah, buddy, I am super, super proud of you. That energy is going to go to some amazing places. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are healed, a lot of lives that are saved because of that energy that you're releasing there, Rob. So thank you so much for that.
So
anybody else?
I did mine outside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And as soon as I was like making the noise of stage 7, there were, I don't even know how many squirrels that started like, and they were all making noises. And I, for the life of me, was looking all around and could not figure out where they were.
Yep.
But I got the squirrels going.
You felt the interconnectedness, huh? It's all one.
I was outside too, Connie, and I had probably 5 of the chickens next door come to the fence where I was. So Connie came from the front yard all the way to the backyard and laid next to me again.
Aww.
So it definitely is something, some energy that's been being put out there. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Anybody else have any questions or comments or? Yep. Yes, Rob, you were supposed to feel exhausted after that. So just a lot of that buildup that we have, that carrying around that energy, there are parts of us that truly are exhausted. They're on 24/7. So once we start to release that energy, once it starts to flow, and we're building up that interconnectedness within ourselves, we're going to be able to connect with those parts that are exhausted. So just, Rob, if I were you, I would go outside. I would put your feet on the ground. And I would get out into the sunshine, drink some water, let yourself just kind of be enveloped by those negative ions from the earth, and it'll dissipate pretty quickly.
So for me, first, I was very happy that I was able to connect to this area in my belly, and actually like feel it so that I can work on it. So that was very good. And by the end, I think I'm still like, especially my arms, like kind of shaking, and I felt my heart so like moving, like
Yes.
like really like, I don't know how to explain, but yeah.
Yeah, lots of energy there, huh?
I really felt pulsating the heart, and also my throat. It's like if I work out almost, like that stretch.
Yes.
And also a feeling of celebration, which it's great.
Yes, that's the result, the resolution. Oh, finally.
I know.
Good. Hey, Barbara, do you think that this is the one that you really needed? Because yesterday you said, you didn't, it was a little bit more of a challenge to connect. Do you think that this was the one that you needed instead of stage 6?
Probably. And also what you said, I think it depends on the areas, right? Because
Yes.
I'll share this very briefly, but it makes sense now. Like I did my meditation yoga in the morning as usual, but I was like thinking about the different me in different ages. And I started like basically from baby, actually from embryo. And I got to like one age, which it was painful. Like I couldn't, painful. Let's leave it there. And I think that's the one that I was able to connect today. So it's like what you said, different stages at different, in this case, different moments of my life. So.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Barbara. So Chelsea, I'm going to unmute you here. Did you, there you go. Did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yeah, well, I was outside too, and I'm so glad I came inside because I've been so freaked out. My poor kids. Anyway, I am not like feeling great though. I'm feeling like I could have released for like another 15 minutes or something because I'm still feeling like I'm not grounded at all.
Yes. So Chelsea, even though I led you through all of the stages into stage 7, you don't have to do it that way. Okay. You can just do stage 7 on its own. As a matter of fact, I recommend you doing that at least one other time today. So what you really want to do is you want to focus on that stretching of the fingers and the toes away from each other and then compressing with your arms over your head. You probably want to focus on doing that for a minimum of 5 minutes.
Okay.
And really build up that charge almost to the point where your body just like takes over that rhythm, and then bringing the arms over that spot. And like I said, it can just be your solar plexus if you're not exactly sure where it is.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Yeah. So I would recommend putting all of your energy into stage 7 and doing that build up for a little bit longer, and then letting yourself vocalize.
So what am I supposed to do with my arms above my head? What am I supposed to do with my arms?
So when your arms are above your head, can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever your arms are above your head, you're on the inhale, you're stretching your fingers as far away from your toes as you possibly can while you breathe in. And then your toes, your feet are flexing downwards. They're flexing away from you. And then during the exhale, you're clenching your fists and you're bringing the toes up towards the nose and you're squeezing everything into that spot of that disconnectedness, and you're exhaling out the mouth. So you're like trying to push all of the body's energy into that spot so that all the air comes out of that spot. And then you're inhaling again into that spot, and then you're exhaling, squeezing everything out, and then inhaling, and then exhaling, and inhaling back and forth. And then once your body builds up that charge and it really starts to take over that motion and that rhythm, that's whenever you're going to take your hands, you're going to hold your breath, and you're going to bring your hands right over that area. And then you're going to take your fist and you're going to squeeze and pull everything into that spot. And then once you get everything so charged up, your exhale is going to be that sound, whatever sound it is, whatever sound needs to come out. And in stage 7, the sound will fluctuate. It'll rise, it'll lower, it'll move from high pitch to low pitch. It'll kind of go all over the place. And you just let it go and let it go and let it go. Like I said, like diarrhea or vomit, just blah, get it all out. And as you're making that sound, you're bringing your hands lower and lower and lower, keeping the body very tense and very still until at the very end, the hands are down by the side. You're letting all of that air out, and then you're relaxing.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Barbara, did you have your hand up?
Oh, no, sorry. It was from before.
Okay. So.
Tad, you can put their hands down.
Yeah, but that feels so forceful.
Just that way, after they talk, you could click it. That way,
Got it. All right. So thanks everybody for joining. This was amazing. You guys are rock stars. From here on out, it gets a lot of fun. But again, in order to make that fun sustainable, we got to have the foundation. So feel free to go back to the other videos, find some stages that you either didn't really feel, and you want to get kind of more of an experience of, or find those stages that you really did feel and get the most out of those, and kind of go back and forth over today and tomorrow. The pain one, the one where we specifically focused on pain and learn that exercise, that is episode 6, I believe, or day 6. So find that one, play around, get as much stuff moving as we possibly can, because tomorrow we're going to start the process. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to go directly into stage 8 tomorrow. We may take another skip day, but we're going to start the process of moving into the season of awaken, the moving into the season of full interconnectedness. But in order to do that, we really want to okay, so Barbara, you know what, Barbara? Let's do that. Tomorrow, I will do the whole thing on internal and external. All right, just for Barbara, and not just for Barbara, but this is going to benefit everyone. So thank you for reminding me about that. I will make sure that that's what I do. I probably could do stage 8 because it's all about emptiness and this, and there's not a lot to emptiness. That's the beauty of it. So we'll play around with that. I'll definitely do internal, external tomorrow, and then we will. We'll see if we have enough time to get into stage 8. If not, then the next day. But internal, external is a very, very beneficial piece for everyone to have. It is one of the simplest ways to almost instantly shift our energy level and our energy state, just by paying attention to the way that we are observing life and making sure that it is in our authentic nature. So thanks again for everyone joining us. As always, please, please, please share this on Facebook. Email this link out to any friends that you have that you think would benefit from this. We do now have a YouTube channel. So all of these videos are going to be up on our YouTube channel and more. Now that we're getting in the habit of making these videos, we're going to keep this going. So any topics that you guys would like to discuss, please let us know. You can text the office phone. You can Facebook message us. You can email us. Anything that you would like to know. If I don't know it, I promise you I will research the heck out of it and tell you what I find. So enjoy the day. Go out and get some sunshine. It seems like everybody is, or a lot of you are already doing that. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Love you.